Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the AI for All podcast. I'm Ryan Chacon. With me is my co-host, Neil Sahota, the AI advisor to the UN and founder of AI for Good. How are things going, Neil?
Hey, I'm doing all right. I hope everyone out there is enjoying the summer or the winter, depending on what part of the world you're in.
We also have Nikolai here, our producer.
Hello.
All right, today's episode, a lot of exciting stuff to talk about. We're going to kind of dive into discussing breaking the barrier when it comes to chatbots, how generative AI can help propel the evolution of conversational interfaces. And to discuss this today, we have Raghu Ravinutala, the CEO and co-founder of Yellow.ai. They are a conversational AI company focused on delivering autonomous experiences for customers and employees to accelerate enterprise growth. Perfect company to be talking to about this topic. Raghu, thanks for being on the podcast today.
Oh, fantastic being here, Ryan, Neil, and Nikolai. Looking forward to a fun conversation ahead.
Absolutely. So to start things off, let me ask you to talk to us and our audience about comparing chatbots in the past to kind of where they are now, and maybe talk a little bit about where they're going with everything going on in the AI space. More high level for our audience to kind of set the stage.
Thanks a lot for that introduction, Ryan. And to answer your question, maybe a little bit of context around Yellow.ai as a company itself. A company that started in 2016, primarily working towards automating customer support and experience for enterprises. And we've been fortunate to see the entire wave of chatbot evolution, right from when Facebook Messenger enabled chatbots on their platform in 2016 to where we are with generative AI. We work with over 1,000 plus enterprises across several different countries across the world. When the chatbots by their name started in 2016, the primary use case was around information retrieval or providing information back to the users. And the primary mode of operation was getting the basic keywords from what users were interacting with and fetching the right information and providing the answer back. And then the first level of automation came in with TensorFlow getting open source and getting a bit of intents and entities and basic machine learning. I wouldn't say it's AI, but machine learning was the first technology that was used to kind of find the patterns in the way that users were interacting and getting the right answers for that. And over a period of time, the industry evolved, and I think there were smaller versions of what we called as large language models with the release of BERT, etc. in 2018, 2019, that the large data sets that are available in the internet, without the need for extensive training, you were able to identify intents, entities, and there was dialogue systems being built, not just to answer questions, but complete dialogues and transactions, be it doing a transaction with a banking system, doing a transaction with airlines. And over this period of time, right from 2016 to 2019, 2020, we have seen a tremendous improvement in the completion rates, deflection rates, and this was resulting in direct ROI impact for our end customers. And over this time, the number of channels also expanded significantly, moving from Facebook Messenger to WhatsApp, websites, mobile apps. So chatbots were everywhere. They were delivering value, but they were still not there to the promise that was there when they were considered a universal digital assistant. And over the last 2 years, generative AI has taken a leap forward. Even before OpenAI announced ChatGPT, generative AI was around in a smaller way. I think there were language models with Hugging Face, etc., that you were able to get reasonably high accuracy in terms of understanding, actually generating the answers as well, where it completely reduced the training time, improved the accuracy, improved the deflection rate. But with OpenAI's generative AI, what I think truly changed is the ability to generating human-like content and responses. I think that is the biggest difference we saw with OpenAI. What that enabled is that here, though, the kind of interactions that were not possible to be automated earlier, um, empathetic responses, negotiating with the users, driving goal-based interaction, demonstrating human-like empathy. All these are now possible with generative AI and taking it forward. So we are seeing improved conversion rates, improved satisfaction rates, and much more longer conversations that humans are having with the latest large language models based chatbots or voice assistant. That's the whole loop that we have seen. So we are probably at the level 4, level 5, or level 4, level 5, kind of at that boundary of a chatbot response.
It's interesting because, you talk about like the ability for empathetic engagement, negotiation. Some of these things are actually, they're not new to AI. Like artificial empathy has been around for 8, 9 years, but it was always like everything was kind of piecemeal, right? Again, one API over here, another API over there. It was really on companies to string it together to provide this overall experience. I mean, do you feel now with chatbots, all the stuff is kind of coming bundled together, already self-integrated, so it's easier for businesses to use an employee? Is that the transformation you think has been going on?
The transformation that's, I think the enterprises are now more ambitious than they were earlier. So the biggest difference before Gen AI and now seeing is chatbots and AI assistants were seen as supplements to human-based support, where 70 to 80% of the interactions were handled by humans, and chatbots and AI assistants were supplementing them to take away some part of the load. Now, enterprises are more ambitious. In fact, talking to our customers and looking at a future, which we call it agentless customer experience, where companies are looking to drive fully autonomous customer support experiences, where a lot of the existing customer support personnel transformed into AI managers, people who are managing the chatbot system or the AI system rather than directly answering the calls. That is now possible just because of conversations that now AI is able to handle, be it decision making, be it empathetic responses, be it negotiating, which are not possible are now certainly possible.
That's awesome. A little weird tangent from me on this. I'm curious if you're working with any of the airline companies. As a guy who's been stranded because of the thunderstorms or issues recently that thousands of flights cancel. Is that like a ripe opportunity right there?
That's absolutely a ripe opportunity, and typically these situations have been the triggers for a lot of companies to implement automation because that hits them at a time of where a number of consumers are calling them for responses. So yeah, absolutely, we are seeing some of those, and hopefully it'll help you. Hopefully you don't get stuck in a thunderstorm next time, but in case you get, you'll probably get a resolution faster than before.
Let me ask you, you mentioned jobs. You mentioned the transition of if call centers are able to go to be fully autonomous, that those people that were handling the customer interaction will move more to AI management. Do you kind of envision that being something that would require probably a different skill set and different personnel entirely? Or is that something that the existing call center team members that were doing this, that are now kind of being replaced by the chatbot, would be able to be trained and move into that type of role? Since obviously when it comes to AI, there's always the question of, is AI going to take jobs? So this is a perfect example of taking something that has been historically done with people and making it autonomous. What happens to those individuals? Is it just kind of, are they going to find jobs elsewhere, or do you think this is something they could adapt and become maybe more in tune with the technology and engineering side to be able to handle the AI pieces?
The way that I see it, what's happening out there is that it's no doubt that these jobs are going to be impacted. The number of people required for customer support will drastically come down. I'm sure, I think there are areas where companies will kind of position them and make better utilization of that workforce that they have. If you have seen a recent example, I believe a furniture company has created their contact center agents to be more consultants rather than support providers. So there will be a move towards more higher end interactions that humans are going to handle. But for basic regular customer support, you're going to see a tremendous amount of movement of people away from those roles. Talking about how these customer support agents are going to move to AI managers, I think there's going to be different skills needed. The skills are more like what you would think of as a contact center trainer or a manager, where they're coming up with how the brand needs to respond to customers. What is their style? What is the kind of uh, dialogue that they want to be having as their customers? So earlier they were training the, into the contact center teams, but now they are going to train the AI agent. They're going to monitor. They were earlier monitoring people on their performance quality. Now they've moved towards monitoring the AI systems, their quality, their performance, and managing, correcting the system on the go, which is a different task from just answering the phone call. So there is definitely going to be change in the job description, what these people are going to do. But my hope is that uh, with this entire change in technology, people can move on to more graded roles and more consulting based roles to their customers and support roles. But there's going to be a massive, massive shift and transformation, that's for sure.
Do you think that, or I guess let me ask you this way: what do you think really needs to happen to make this something that companies feel comfortable adopting? Or are there certain metrics or things that they can see throughout the testing phase in order to feel like this is something they can bring into their business and see good results with the engagement they're getting with customers? And the reason I ask is because, like, for me, whenever I jump into a chatbot, the first thing I'm trying to do is talk to a human, because going through all the different questions and things to get to an answer feels less efficient than typing in the word human or people or whatever. Just like talk to somebody so that I can communicate one to one with them. Um, what do you think companies are going to be looking for when it comes to the decision on how to decide when is the right time for their customer base, as well as when is the technology ready for that experience, especially if they have a wide range of customers from, different ages, demographics, languages, and things like that? What do you think they need to see in order to feel like this is something that I can bring into my business to start seeing real results, both on the bottom line and just with customer experience?
The reason why contact center and customer support are one of the initial or first areas that are to be impacted by AI is the reason this entire space is very objective. So the way that the contact center performance is evaluated is very objective. You have first first time to response, meet time to resolution, customer satisfaction rates, net promoter score. And as long as, and of course, the cost of driving this, as long as these key parameters keep improving with AI being core provider of the service, companies will start to expand and scale up on these deployments. From what we have seen so far with our customers, first time to response is unmatchable. Answers, hold times are completely eliminated. It's a big option. The second is the mean time to resolution, especially the task is well defined and have the right integration. A human would take almost 20 to 30 minutes to go to multiple systems and resolve that query by doing a transaction. Let's say a reschedule of a flight ticket, whereas software can get the resolution within a few minutes. So we're saying the trend up quite significantly there. Third is about empathetic responses and customer satisfaction rate. There we have seen a divergence historically where information and transactional use cases where people want things done, the AI and chatbots are able to do them much faster and much more cleaner. And we're seeing satisfaction rates much. Where we were seeing an issue was when the user has a complaint or an issue that needs to be emotionally handled. Uh, Chatbots can become really frustrating. And we have seen human agents do much better. But with the latest technology, we are seeing trends where now the ability to empathetically respond and resolve and even make decisions. For example, you're not happy with some gauge baggage fee. Uh, Earlier, it required a human to come in and provide an offer, provide a solution to your problem. Now, the AI agents can in the budgets for the day and make real-time decisions whether they need to give a discount, they need to waive off, or they need to hold on to the baggage fee, for example. So now they are taking a little bit of more of those tasks. And the initial results show that I think they have been effective. But still, in these use cases, the deployment at enterprises have to happen at scale. Information transactions is absolutely proven for a more emotional and empathetic needs. We are in the early stages of proving the efficacy of chatbots and AI assistant. The results are very promising right now. My belief is that in the next year or two, we'll see these use cases also deliver higher improvement in metric across these four parameters. So that's how I look at it, and that's how companies will look at it.
I'm totally with you on that, Raghu. I think the trust factor is a lot better. And I don't know if that's just comfort and benchmark results, but I think you alluded to something that seems to be more of a barrier these days, which is scalability. That I think a lot of businesses look at this and say, if I have a new offering or I run frequent promotions, how much work do I have to do then to keep the AI updated to provide the quality of service? What do you think about that? What do you see on the scalability side?
Companies need to invest resources in keeping the AI updated. Unlike traditional applications like mobile apps and websites, which could be static, the information that the company wants to convey to the customers and interact with the customers keep changing and keep metamorphosizing day in and day out. Let me take the example of your situation itself, Neil, when you probably got stuck in a flight. That's not starting information. So there was something that happened during those 2-3 days that resulted in your complaint or your reach out to the company, and that information of what needs to be answered and be trained and provided back to the AI system. So it's an imperative for companies like us to enable our customers and enterprises to have all the tools, all the management systems to keep the AI system updated, make changes, and monitor the quality, monitor the quality of responses, and keep on fine tuning that. But it also requires them to invest resources to manage this. So the equation that the company is looking at is, I'm going to take additional investment in buying this software and dedicating certain set of people to manage this. Whether this investment kind of justifies itself for the overall automation and cost reductions that I'm seeing from a regular contact center perspective. And that is the ROI calculations that companies are doing as they are evaluating this technology. And I think we are right now converging on two mega trends. One is we are going to be in a high interest rate scenario for the next, 3, 5, who knows? I mean, some people are predicting probably this decade as well, where I think the indexing on efficiency is super high, and that is coming together with where AI technology is available planet scale. So these forces are made for each other at some point of time where it is AI is like really helping enterprises address the number one problem that they And I think companies will start to move fast in adopting this.
It's a really important point to say this is an investment. It's not static, or you have to maintain it. You have to keep the teaching, everything up to date. But I think you also make a really powerful point around the inflation, right? Because it got me thinking about like wage inflation and how McDonald's is now replacing people that take your order in the drive-through with AI bots, right? And it's not just a cost savings move. They've now seen, again, benchmark results, improved order accuracy and the ability to actually take more changes to like your hamburger, chicken sandwich, whatever you're ordering, and capture that appropriately. So there's a level of improved customer satisfaction they're also experiencing.
We're seeing more and more of that for sure. And another trend that we are seeing in line with what you're saying, Neil, is historically the front office has been front office when I mean customer support, marketing, sales. They've all been siloed due to several reasons because of expertise of people, their different budgets, etc. And with more and more of AI systems, end user doesn't see the company as different silos. They are talking to the brand, and companies are seeing this opportunity of using the AI front end as a unifying force across the different silos of the front office of a company. Imagine going through a drive-through center where you're not just ordering, but you're probably resolving some of your concerns about takeaway or the delivery. So it's a unified interface that can support but also can sell. So it not just becomes a cost center, but it can also become a profit center. So we are seeing that trend happen as well.
Do you see, or from your experience engaging with different types of companies across different industries, certain industries more primed to adopt these chatbots and technologies with AI, or do you, and are there others that maybe we may not be there yet for what you envision them really needing to see value?
Yes, we do see certain industries adopting this technology faster. The key characteristics of a company or industry that is fast in adopting automation in front office is one where they're spending a significantly high cost on customer interaction. There are a very high number of interactions that the contact centers are having with their customers, be it financial services, retail, utilities, telecom. These are the number one. Second is a lot of these companies where their core services are reasonably commoditized, where if you see banking, insurance, I mean, there are financial products that everyone provides. They differentiate with customer experience. So I think these are the companies that we see adopting faster. Third, where companies with reasonably lesser regulatory impact or regulatory concerns to deal with. So potentially pharma would be a little bit more hesitant towards it, whereas companies related to retail and financial services, I think they are more open. So as a summary of this, the companies that we are seeing with a significantly faster adoption is retail, financial services, utilities, and telecom.
What about the hospitality industry? Are you seeing anything there?
Absolutely. So we have some of the large hospitality brands as our customers. So we are seeing hospitality also take on, like, let's say, airlines and resorts, etc. So we see that the consideration there for hospitality is that while the customer service is something that they're looking to automate, still seeing that there is a relationship building over long term for sales and etc. So where there is certain amount of human-based experience that they are prioritizing as well.
Anywhere there's high touch, that's an opportunity.
Let me give an example there where it's a large resort brand in the United States. this is the conundrum that a lot of hospitality companies are facing is they have a single number for people to contact either for sales or customer support. Finally, what they're seeing is that 80% of their human cost right now is going for customer support, whereas 20% is going for sales. And they want to actually change that, reverse or flip that equation, where a lot of their human resources going consulting and providing the experience and selling, which is really creative, and a lot of support to be automated and and be transactions. So reduce the costs and deploy the cost more on the revenue generation side, and where real human interaction can drive up consulting, sales, and the experience of the end customer.
I wanted to ask you about kind of the behind the scenes piece of a lot of this, and I've had some conversations external from this podcast about companies kind of focusing on building their own LLMs and kind of these more specialized LLMs for similar tooling for them internally as well as externally. But can you talk to our audience about what a specialized LLM is, kind of how that works, what that means in relation to kind of maybe how other people are thinking about LLMs more in the public space?
So you have these foundational models, which are OpenAI, GPT-4, Anthropic, and Cohere, which are trained on this 170 billion or close to a trillion parameters that just have the entire learning of the universal data on the language. There are a few problems that come with directly using the LLMs to drive conversation. One, these LLMs are generic. They are trained to provide data on all and sundry in the universe, whereas enterprises want controlled interaction with their end customers that is related to their products and service. So control of data and APIs and transactions. The second is they also need configurability. Every brand has their own style and way of managing the interactions, and they want to be able to configure precisely how these dialogues need to be managed. The third is about security and managing their own customers and data. Again, public LLMs, you're sending out data to these external LLMs, etc., which is causing a concern around security and privacy. The fourth is they're only using them for a narrow set of use cases, and the broad LLMs are not as effective when dealing with this core set of narrow use cases because they are optimized generally. So where specialized LLMs are coming in is taking some of the low-end versions or smaller versions of the really large language models, which are still large, let's say a GPT 2.5, etc., and specifically training for enterprise-specific use cases. We recently launched a paper around how to manage and control the data and systems that they are exposed to. So these models are fine-tuned towards specific use cases, trained with specific data and systems, and they are managed within the SaaS ecosystem of companies like us. So we have taken some of these models, incorporated as part of our dialogue system, trained them with core enterprise data, and built tools to configure and manage how these systems interact with their end users. And that is what is delivering value to the enterprises, where you're able to get insane smartness from the language models, but adding the capabilities of configurability, controllability, security, and them being deterministic in providing the enterprise use cases and responses back to the customer. This is how we see the direction of how LLMs will be adapted for enterprise.
You use the word deterministic. This is something I find interesting because, like, previously to get a person, like a human employee, to reliably, you have to train them to follow a particular protocol. And when someone calls them for support, they may or may not follow the protocol strictly. Maybe they're tired, maybe they're frustrated with something. But like with these chatbots, with AI, it's completely deterministic, and sort of people always want to feel like their problem is being solved. They don't want to get a thought in their head that, is the person on the other end of the line really solving my problem? Are they actually invested? But I think that's probably part of the reason why the satisfaction's gone up, is it's entirely deterministic. Like the AI is doing exactly that, and it's 100% focused on that.
100%. And the other part is also that a lot of the human interactions earlier were not really digitized, in the sense that you can't go back and check whether everyone is even following the protocol or not. Now with AI, all these are digitized, and you have the ability to go determine what is the right way of responding to the customer, look at outcomes, and changing at a system level rather than at a user or person level. So customer support and experience is more now managed systemically rather than on a person or process adherence per se.
So I think there's some interesting untapped value here, right? Because especially with the big brands, they have their own language and other things going on. But I probably can't say who it was, but a major hotel chain was actually looking at something to tap into audio data. This was late 2019. Don't get me started on audio data, big untapped data source that, AI can exploit that. We can't as much. But one of the things they were actually doing was thinking about how they can improve customer service. And they realized that they have some people out kind of in the field that are probably providing excellent customer service, but it's never really captured. And they were experimenting with a pilot to see, could they capture that, use AI, identify what some of those best practice moments are. Like, what is this top performer doing to trigger the top performance? Capture that, flag it, and see if you can make that a best practice that you can teach everyone, try and uplift your entire customer service experience. Because of COVID, and hotels obviously shutting down, all those things, they kind of got, I think, lost in the shuffle. But given the work you're doing, like with Yellow.ai and customer service, for certain industries, would that be a future point of value? That could you not just do all these things and providing the service and the brand, but could the interactions of these AI systems yield some better best practices?
Absolutely. So let me take an example of a beverage brand that provided an AI assistance to end customers to create recipes for cocktails and mocktails, etc. What the AI system was able to show to the brand back was there's a certain section or geographies where the consumers preferred spicier cocktails, and there was a region or segment of customers that preferred more sweeter cocktails. And this kind of provided feedback to their brand on their marketing strategy, product strategy, on the right things to do that are super personalized for these network users. Historically, the amount of data that's exchanged in contact centers, there are about 400 billion calls right now made every single year. Very few insights to the brand on what they need to change from their product, from their marketing, from their segmentation. All that data was not available because these were all analog, non-configured, unlabeled data that was sitting out there. With AI, that entire data is now labeled, managed, and it's already starting to show signs where this can provide deep insights into not just the consumer, but like how they can change their brand, positioning, marketing, their product line, which is highly invaluable for a lot of these companies. And we see those we see that happening, Neil. Absolutely.
One of the last things I want to ask you before we wrap up here is, as people are listening to this in the enterprise commercial space and looking to explore adopting generative AI tools, LLMs, into their business in some different way, anything related to these AI solutions, how do you recommend they think through that adoption process? Because there are some situations, and this is again comes from conversations I've had external with this, about companies looking to maybe build their own versus adopt an existing solution. So how do you kind of advise companies to think about that decision when it comes to bringing these types of tools and solutions into their business to see the benefits across their enterprise for either internal or external reasons?
Historically, when a new technology is introduced, and especially over the last 1-2 decades, there have been tools that enable companies to build the initial set of features, and that's where open source come into play. Where historically companies have the ability to build applications on their own. Companies have an ability to build, mobile apps, systems on their own. And I think that's great initially while proving out the concepts and proving out the efficacy of the technology. But most of the time, the enterprises end up to use third-party or vendor-based solution for production deployment, because the vendors, well, they are building, let's say, a focused solution towards entire customer support. Getting an interaction automated technologies, I'm sure you can kind of take out of the box, open source, configure a little bit, and manage it. But the entire workflow that needs to go along with it, be it about managing the conversation, driving alerts, the humans, tools to the content, fine tuning the models, driving configurability. Uh, the enterprises by themselves either need to spend significant amounts of capital to develop that without the necessary impact or ROI in the outcomes, whereas they could use a specialized vendor like Yellow.ai who have already built all these systems, tested across several set of enterprises, and pay a subscription cost and derive the value, because this is not the core of a lot of companies that do as their core purpose. They are companies that are selling retail products, providing great health, providing packing services, focus on their core, and this is something that they can use off the shelf out of the market, that best-in-class companies have built the entire infrastructure to solve a customer problem than just provide AI frameworks that can be configured, developed within the enterprise. That's how we see it. In the initial days, you'll always see companies trying out things till the market consolidates a little bit. But the end case is always about using the best-in-class solution.
Neil, Nikolai, any last comments, questions before we wrap up?
I think it's just been a great discussion, and I think Raghu's done a great job of showing the powerful value propositions that are associated with, well, using AI to, help automate and run or manage customer service.
It's been a fantastic discussion, Ryan, Neil, and Nikolai. Fantastic question. And looking forward to many more in the future.
Absolutely. For our audience who wants to learn more about what you have going on at Yellow.ai or reach out, follow up, anything regarding this discussion, what's the best way they could do that?
Best way is our website, Yellow.ai. And even better way is that we have an AI assistant out there. So I think that's we eat our own dog food. So website and our digital assistant out there are probably the best ways to get more information.
Fantastic. Well, Raghu, thank you so much for taking the time. Excited to get this out to our audience and have you and the company kind of showcased out to the world and what you have going on. As we continue to build more new content, love to have you back and involved as much as possible to keep sharing that expertise to our audience.
Thank you. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a great day ahead.